Boy, it just occurred to me by seeing the opening information Zero Hedge about the hearings today, Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard, who it's because Trump's confident in both of them. And so far, I'm getting what I want from Trump. So there's a lot of Republicans that need to understand. It's like, okay, the beauty of what's coming is the inevitability of the Republican Party exposing and punishing a lot of this stuff that's been going on from the intelligence community to fundamentally go after Republicans, to go after. And now we're seeing it all throughout the Eurosphere, that the intelligence agencies and left of center parties have united to go after the populist actually, like when people vote and that's what people want, for some reason this isn't okay with the secret police and the left of center. So you've exposed yourself. A lot of the intelligence, this thing called the intelligence community, has exposed itself as a Democratic Party racket, as a neoliberal, neocon racket, as this globalist racket, and that we're supposed to all just pay for it and go along with it and just be like, this is cool, even though you've lost the majority of the popular vote. And I mean, the country wants to shut down the Pentagon. This is the issue that nobody's really saying out loud. We don't know what will happen. All we know is that we really, really, really know that if we were to shut down the Pentagon, nobody's going to be weeping. There was an army and a navy before the fucking Pentagon. I mean, and I do mean that kind of figuratively, but this idea that now, we've literally had the military put their fucking hand up our ass and wave us around like dolls. You're gonna take this fucking shot, civilian. You know, only a traitor wouldn't take this shot and support this Kabila's manager in Ukraine. And then that. Okay, Republicans really need to get this idea. Those of you who, if it was, okay, the devil appeared and said, so, who here now? And, it's like, or no, I'm putting it wrong. What was it? Because there was a thing we used to do when we were kids. I think it was called Would You? And it was like two totally terrible outcomes. Like, would you have sex with that old lady right there? Or would you eat a doo-doo sandwich? And for some reason, this was like extremely satisfying to some people. Like, they just loved this idea that, and at some point, if you humored it, they just couldn't let it go for ever. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to remember people are really stupid. People like stupid things. There's a lot of people who just like fucking stupid shit. Okay, good to know, Be the wet blanket. Don't go along with it. Be the wet blanket, because people are stupid. So just throw water on the fire. What are you talking about? Just fucking around, bro. Whatever. You're a dumbass. Dude, come on, bro. Anyway. The Pentagon now is this thing of with Ukraine, it's like, would you rather burn in nuclear hellfire or help this group of rapscallions? This rapscallions, dictator and the rapscallions. There we go. That's the Ukrainian band that we all have to be fucking fans of now. because of I mean, I really get the reason why this sticks in my craw is this absolutely positively not only did not have to happen, but the idea that there are so many people on the right who've gone along with this, that it's unfucking believable. And whenever you present stuff that it's uncontested factual information, that nobody contests it, that it's like, no, this was a junta, the government was established by a junta. Why are we supporting this? They haven't had real elections almost since that junta, because they'll ban parties that the junta doesn't agree with. And it was like, that's not in any way, shape, or form democracy. And then this idea of, they weren't openly shelling areas of the country as people were escaping to them, when they openly shelled parts of the country as people were fundamentally escaping to them. None of this is contested. It's only that there's a bunch of Americans who have some real problem with the fact that this is factual information, that this really happened. And so this whole idea of like, and that all of a sudden that Russia should just totally go along with this, that they should just be fucking cool with it. They should have been cool with what we were doing in Georgia. They should have been cool with what we were doing in Armenia. Then it's this thing of, nigger, I can read. I can look into how much we're fiddle-faddling with civil government in Georgia and in Armenia. Like, what is wrong with you guys? Why do you think people are dopes who are buying some kind of Russian Mazgarodovia or something like that? It's like, do you not understand? Zelensky obviously was never a competent leader. He was obviously never qualified to run something like this. This is absolutely clear. He's an actor. He's quite literally an actor who doesn't even speak Ukrainian. He had to be taught how to speak Ukrainian because he's natively a Russian-speaking Jew. All of this, if anybody who once you say those words and you know anything about what are the ugliest things that the Russians say, then suddenly you're like, guys, you do know what the Russians say about people like this. You do understand why we're even in this contest with the Russians. Because of how they kept accusing all of these people in the early days of the fall of the USSR, who happened to be Jews, of exploiting the society. And so that's when Vladimir Putin came back hard and has kept power. And the people who really don't like Vladimir Putin seem to be people who write for a living for the New York Times. I'm only going to say that. It there's no pattern we're seeing here. We're seeing no. Too late. Donald Trump is fucking president. Too late. The reality movement has come. The reality movement is here. We notice patterns movement. The pattern recognition brigade has arrived, and we're not buying this idea that we need to keep doing it. No, Zelensky's going to have to hold elections and step down. Then after he does that, after the peace process and he steps down, no, Russia's going to be able to do what they want with that east end of the fucking country and Crimea. It's not being given back. It's not going to be given back. They're going to have to make some kind of, like nice, 10-year lease deals on some gas lines so that Ukraine gets lots of transit taxes off of it. That's about it. Ukraine's going to eat shit. And it's because of Brussels and Britain and France and Germany. That's the reason why we can't be frank and honest about this, because those folks fucked up. Because they don't fundamentally respect the Slavs. They see Slavs and they see the inner Asians as people who they could just manipulate. And people just, it's, yeah. The Republicans were like, oh, but Ukraine, yeah. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Ukraine shoe is on the left foot, or it's on the right foot. And you know what shoe is on the left foot of the body of bullshit you're kicking? Is let the Muslims into every European country with because apparently you need them. So no, we're not going for that fucking song and dance. Everybody's going to have to start presenting extremely super duper amazing plans for how, so Ukraine will be finished in this amount of time, or because of this, and this. And we are going to, it's just, you're going to have to come up with real plans, because nobody is dealing with this boomer, which way the wind blows, baby, and no, and I'll get off the drugs one of these days, no. We're taking your drugs away. That's all it is. And have the SADs. You're going to have the SADs. You're going to have to present a better argument for why everybody has to pay for your goddamn hobbies and ventures all the time. That's just how that is now. And then that we're doing this for France. Who are they? I mean, just at this point, like, oh, for the sake of Brussels, for the sake of France, we've got to do the Ukraine dance, and no, we don't. Actually, Ukraine needs to figure out how it's going to get along with Russia, and that's it. It's not another issue. They're going to have to figure this out. People who were in Ukraine voted at pretty darn large numbers for people who liked having a friendly relationship with Russia. This is another issue that nobody's really getting into, is that having a friendly relationship with the gigantic economy and nuclear power off to your side there might be a good idea, because war forever isn't awesome. And also because their nationalist movement couldn't make it without a bunch of Western Europeans throwing in with it and supporting it on YouTube. So, and I mean openly supporting it, where there's an open government program helping Azov Battalion propagandize. That is true. Azov Battalion has an active channel on YouTube, and every time they're going to have another one of their fucking big events where they lose against Russia again or don't take much territory, but now they're going to show them they've got new missiles. They've got missiles that are 40 years old now. And we're going to, oh boy, the Russians aren't going to know what to do about this. Let me tell you. We're asking a bunch of experts. We got an interview with Colonel Beauregard Dubois. Hello. And Hello, can you hear me? Yes, I can. We're here in Patriots Corner, and we're asking you, sir. Those 40-year-old missiles, they pack a punch. Let me tell you something. Back in those days, see, we don't buy it. After your third fucking wife, buddy, we don't buy that all these old fucks got their shit together, are truthful, are candid. No, there's a specific kind of fucking mental with the boomers, and they get hung up on things. We're gonna get fucking Russia. My whole thing is, how would I handle Russia? What would you do then, smart guy? I would curse them to develop Russia. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. What I would encourage them to do, I would give them lots of money and foreign aid, but only for one thing. A train to from Moscow all the way to the Eastern Shore. Like, to develop that. Now, of course, there's good reason for this. But also, you just keep walking out there, Sergey. Keep going, Sergey. Oh yeah, you build that railroad, Sergey. This isn't a project that's going to happen quickly. You see, they don't even really have the population to develop Russia. There's these areas that, probably no human foot has tread for like a century with how big that land is. And then there's dealing with, okay, just imagine you now have this opportunity at every Slavic family in Russia having enough worth stealing. Don't worry, they'll be busy. They'll be busy. They'll be keeping plenty busy. Developing a country is harder than destroying them. I would curse Russia to development. No more war. Go ahead and build a railroad, buddy. That's why we never hear from them for 20 years if they were to try to develop Russia. They had nothing else to do. Nothing else to do. What would they build a giant army up for? What, to fight China in the long run? See how that's working? China. We didn't hear from China for a long time. Why? Because they were developing China. And now they have to maintain it, and it's killing them. It's hard to build a country. It's easy to destroy it. And so it just, all you got to do is let people try to succeed. I know there's probably a part of it that you're like, oh my gosh, that's like some reversist, like Kabbalistic Jewish magic. What? Oh my God, and it's like, no, I kind of think that maybe, I call it Templarism. Let there be peace. Now, just try to grow something out here. That's what I would suggest. In fact, we even got a little money we'll invest in you. You just try to grow some wheat out here. Keep them busy. And then in the long run, they're like, yeah, this giant farm, blah, blah. They say it was started by the Templars, but there's not really any evidence of that. And the reason I'm also saying this is because the benefit of a lot of labor inputs and development, not only do they become so the payoffs are so big. Okay, an uneducated economist got into it. We are now squandering the wealth built in 1910s, like our roads, the base of money that we're depending upon to ask people for credit. That was built in the late 1800s and the 1910s. Then after World War II, we kept using a bit of that base to then make more money in manufacturing, becoming the manufacturing giant that we did. But key to this is maintaining it. Maintaining that is very, very difficult. And you have to have this mentality of, no, the productive base of the country has to be maintained. Well, we did what everybody does. I actually have Cantillon's essays coming in the mail. I have to hold it. I have to hold the book. So difficult to sit and read. I find that's the toughest part for me. Old dog, new trick, real hard, sitting on a chair and like reading from a screen as compared to having a book. It's just a thing. And then my pens and marking the book and sipping the cup, marking the book. I love that. I fucking love that. I love doing that. But anyway, Democrats don't acknowledge that that wealth that was done independently. People started businesses everywhere. There was no like mass. There wasn't a thing like the internet. There wasn't really a way that information was anything other than local or regional. There was rarely even broadcasters that you could get for more than like so many hours a day. That were broadcasters that told you, like the international news was its own show. That kind of news was its own show, strictly. You still see that in audiovisual presentations, but I mean, it's people don't get, like, this was on the radio. Or you got it in paper form when you finally got it. And so right now, we're seeing the end of the wealth from the beginning of the 1900s. A little kick, well, not a little, a good kick in for the manufacturing period of World War II. And now now we're running on fumes. Now we're really actually running on fumes because we're not productive. That's why so many thousands of highly skilled people are being fired. We're not producing new things, novel things, and novel services that anyone can afford or wants at the level that we have people employed for it. Oh yeah. But there's still people printing vinyl. There's still singers. We still have music. Who can ask for anything more?